Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. In this module, we shall be discussing about Geneva Convention on long range transport of atmospheric pollutants. The learning objectives of this module are to study about the background of the convention, to know about various provisions, ratification, amendments and impacts of Geneva Convention on long range transport of atmospheric pollutants. Earth's atmosphere is dynamic and so are the pollutants released in the atmosphere. Whenever the pollutants are released into the atmosphere from a source, they tend to diffuse and drift away horizontally with the wind and cross international boundaries. So, air pollution affects the populations all over the globe, even far away from the source. To protect the human environment from air pollution and to gradually reduce and prevent air pollution, efforts beyond the geographical boundaries at international level are necessary. An international treaty, namely the Convention on Long Range Transboundary Air Pollution, covers the above objectives. This picture depicts the mechanism of transboundary movement of air pollutants. You will find that there is emission of different air pollutants like SOx, NOx, ammonia, etc. from our houses, from industries, from transportation, from biomass burning and other agricultural activities. Then these pollutants are transported to the upper atmosphere and there their transformation may take place into sulfuric acid, nitric acid, etc. Then there may be their wet deposition as well as their dry deposition. This deposition take place on soil, on our plants, in our aquatic bodies. Ultimately, this all impact the human health as well as these pollutants deposition also affect our crops and affect our materials. Background of this convention. The Convention on Long Range Transboundary Air Pollution was convened at Geneva on 13th November 1979 and came into force on 16th March 1983. According to the provisions of United Nations Conference on the Human Environment, Charter of the United Nations and the principles of international law, the states have the sovereign right to exploit their own resources according to their own environmental policies and have the responsibility to ensure that activities within their jurisdiction do not cause damage to the environment of other states. Recognizing the short and long term adverse effects of air pollution, including transboundary air pollution, and to seek solutions for the problems identified, a need of active international cooperation was felt. All these concerns gave rise to this Convention on Long Range Transboundary Air Pollution. This convention is the first multilateral agreement on air pollution and the first environmental accord involving all nations of Eastern and Western Europe and Northern America. The convention now has 51 parties. The convention is implemented by the European Monitoring and Evaluation Program. This is short form for Cooperative Program for Monitoring and Evaluation of the Long Range Transmission of Air Pollutants in Europe, that is EMEP. Let me come to different definitions. The convention has two terms which need to be defined here as defined in the convention itself. According to the convention, air pollution means the introduction by man directly or indirectly of substances or energy into the air, resulting in deleterious effects of such a nature as to endanger human health, harm living resources and ecosystems and material property, and impair or interfere with amenities and other legitimate uses of the environment, and air pollutants shall be construed accordingly. Second term is long range transboundary air pollution. It means air pollution whose physical origin is situated wholly or in part within the area under the national jurisdiction of one state, and which has adverse effects in the area under the jurisdiction of another state at such a distance that it is not generally possible to distinguish the contribution of individual emission sources or groups of sources. Let me come to the principles of this convention. The convention is based on the following principles. First is, the contracting parties shall protect man and his environment against air pollution, considering the fact and problems involved, and the contracting parties shall try to control, gradually reduce and prevent air pollution, including long range transboundary air pollution. Second, the contracting parties within the framework of this convention shall develop such policies and strategies which shall serve as a mean of combating the discharge of air pollutants, taking into account efforts already made at national and international levels. Such policies shall be developed by means of exchange of information, consultation, research and monitoring among parties without any undue delay. Third, the contracting parties shall review and exchange information on their policies, scientific activities and technical measures aimed at combating the discharge of air pollutants which may have adverse effects. Fourth, consultations shall be held upon request between contracting parties which are actually affected and contracting parties within whose jurisdiction a significant contribution to long range transboundary air pollution originates. Other considerations under this convention: air quality management. In order to combat air pollution, each contracting party undertakes to develop the best policies and strategies, including air quality management systems and control measures compatible with balanced development by using the best available technology that is economically feasible and low and non-waste technology. Thus, this convention is responsible for air pollution management. Research and development. The contracting parties resolved to initiate and cooperate in the conduct of research and development of existing and proposed technologies for reducing emissions of sulfur compounds and other major air pollutants, including technical and economic feasibility and environmental consequences. B. Instrumentation and other techniques for monitoring and measuring emission rates and ambient concentrations of air pollutants. C. Improved models for a better understanding of the transmission of long range transboundary air pollutants. D. The effects of sulfur compounds and other major air pollutants on human health and the environment, including agriculture, forestry, materials, aquatic and other natural ecosystems and visibility, with a view to establishing a scientific basis for dose and effect relationship designed to protect the environment. E. The economic, social and environmental assessment of alternative measures for attaining environmental objectives including the reduction of long-range transboundary air pollution. F. Education and training programs related to the environmental aspects of pollution by sulfur compounds and other major air pollutants. Then exchange of information. In the common interest, the contracting parties can exchange available information on the different aspects, and these aspects are: A. Data related to emissions as per the agreements. The agreement on data exchange may include particular air pollutants, size of emitting grid units, fluxes of agreed air pollutants, distances from national border and periods of time. B. Major changes in national policies and in general industrial development and their potential impact, which would be likely to cause significant changes in long range transboundary air pollution. C. Control of technologies for reducing air pollution relevant to long range transboundary air pollution. D. The projected cost of the emission control of sulfur compounds and other major air pollutants on a national scale. E. Meteorological and physicochemical data relating to the processes during transmission. F. Physicochemical and biological data related to the effects of long range transboundary air pollution and the extent of the damage to which these data indicate can be attributed to long range transboundary air pollution. G. National, sub-regional and regional policies and strategies for the control of sulfur compounds and other major air pollutants. Implementation and further development of the cooperative program for the monitoring and evaluation of the long range transmission of air pollutants in Europe. The contracting parties stress the need for the implementation of the existing cooperative program for the monitoring and evaluation of the long range transmission of air pollutants in Europe, and with regard to the further development of this program, agree to emphasize: A. The desirability of contracting parties joining in and fully implementing EMEP, which as a first step is based on the monitoring of sulfur dioxide and related substances. B. The need to use comparable or standardized procedures for monitoring wherever possible. C. The desirability of basing the monitoring program on the framework of both national and international programs. The establishment of monitoring stations and the collection of data shall be carried out under the national jurisdiction of the country in which the monitoring stations are located. D. The desirability of establishing a framework for a cooperative environmental monitoring program based on and taking into account present and future national, sub-regional, regional and other international programs. E. The need to exchange data on emissions at periods of time to be agreed upon of agreed air pollutants starting with sulfur dioxide coming from grid units of agreed size, or on the fluxes of agreed air pollutants starting with sulfur dioxide across national borders at distances and at periods of time to be agreed upon. The method and the model used to determine the fluxes and transmission of air pollutants based on the emissions per grid unit shall be made available and periodically reviewed in order to improve the methods and the models. F. Their willingness to continue the exchange and periodic updating of national data on total emissions of agreed air pollutants, starting with sulfur dioxide. G. The need to provide meteorological and physicochemical data relating to processes during transmission. H. The need to monitor chemical components in other media such as water, soil and vegetation, as well as a similar monitoring program to record effects on health and environment. I. The desirability of extending the national EMEP networks to make them operational for control and surveillance purposes. Let me come to the secretariat of this convention. The Executive Secretary of the Economic Commission for Europe shall carry out for the executive body the following secretariat functions. A. To convene and prepare the meetings of the executive body. B. To transmit to the contracting parties reports and other information received in accordance with the provisions of the present convention. C. To discharge the functions assigned by the executive body. Now, what are the impacts of this convention? Since 1979, the Convention on Long Range Transboundary Air Pollution has addressed some of the major environmental problems of the UNECE region through scientific collaboration and policy negotiation. The convention has been extended by 8 protocols that identify specific measures to be taken by parties to cut their emissions of air pollutants. And these protocols are Protocol on long-term financing of the cooperative program for monitoring and evaluation of the long-range transmission of air pollutants in Europe 1984. Then Helsinki Protocol on the reduction of sulfur emissions 1985, Nitrogen Oxide Protocol 1988, Volatile Organic Compounds Protocol 1991, Oslo Protocol on further reduction of sulfur emissions 1994, Protocol on heavy metals 1998, Aarhus Protocol on persistent organic pollutants 1998, then Gothenburg Protocol to abate acidification, eutrophication and ground level ozone 1999. Dear students, in this module we have discussed about the Geneva Convention related to transboundary movement of air pollutants. I hope you have enjoyed this module. Thank you.